Hi guys, just a quick reminder before this video starts that on the 22nd to the 24th of June, I'll be at SunnyCon Anime Expo at St James's Park, Newcastle. I have a stall there with a friend, and if you're interested in my art and stuff, I'll be selling prints and wares there. So I'll link in the description to the website so you can find out more about this con, and hopefully I'll see some of you guys there. Anyway, on with the video. Hi guys, and welcome to a quick tutorial. I'm doing a quick bird tutorial on how I go about drawing birds basically. So I've drawn up a nice example here of this little crow dude, and I'll show you how I get from something like this to the final birdie. So yeah, we have this guy, but he starts off more or less like this, little skeleton guy, and a lot of this is because birds are basically a lie. I mean, if you look at the finished frame, and I just lower that, you can see that the original skeleton is just so much more thinner and leaner. That's because the way bird feathers fall over the body is a bit different from fur. Whereas fur, you can often see like the muscles and stuff underneath, so you can kind of just draw straight on. Birds tend to, the feathers tend to hide all that, and you tend to not be able to see all that. So yeah, you kind of need to start with a skeleton. You kind of need to think of a naked bird when you start drawing birds. So I've drawn up this little skeleton dude here, and from there, once you've got like all the stuff sketched out, you kind of can sort of flesh it out a bit more, and you start to get like, yeah, you start to get more of an idea what everything's going to be. So from the skeleton, you kind of think where all the, then you start thinking about where all the feathers are basically. Quick tip on how I go about drawing feet. Instead of just doing, I'll make a new layer first. Instead of just doing a sort of line art like this, which is fine, I want to think more about the forms of the toes. So when I do guides for birds' feet, I tend to do that, but then the toes are sort of like like that more shape. I mean, that's not the best example. And then I kind of, to try and think about where the other muscle stuff is, I put a little triangle there and a little diamond shape there, and then from there I can kind of go, oh well, it needs to get fatter towards the end there, you know. And then, oh, when it gets to here, it's a little bit fatter too, but then it's thinner again. Oh, but here, it's a little bit fatter. It's just sort of the guide for where I'm putting down the lines, so I can kind of end up with a vague bird foot. I mean, it's not the best, but it hopefully gives the idea. So anyway, there's a quick tip for that. For this bit, some of you might be wondering how I go about getting the wings done. So I'll show you a more in-depth look at wings. So here I've drawn a simple ass wing. There it is. And this, you know, just using a reference. Basically with bird wings, it's easier to separate them into parts. So here we have like the coverts, the alula, which is like, when I'm cartooning birds, I think this is the thumb. We have the primary coverts, secondary coverts, all this good stuff. And basically separating them in bits makes it a lot easier, so I've color coded them to make it easier. So from there you can kind of block out a wing, so I can go, oh well, here is a wing, that bit's that bit, and then in fact I'll show you guys how I would draw a wing straight up. So I kind of start thinking of like how I did with the skeleton. I'll think of, oh, here's like roughly where the bones might be, and then I think, well, where's this guy, the lula? Well, that's probably somewhere up here. And then I go and sketch in some of the primaries. This is how I go about it, and then I just sort of block the entire rest of the wing like that. And then from there I'll go, well, the coverts are about here, the primary coverts are about here, and the secondary coverts are about here, and then I'll just sort of block them in like that. And then of course from that you can kind of get to this by just going, oh well, now we have a basic guide that we can just sort of follow. And you can draw on every feather. I tend to just like to give the impression of feathers, but yeah, you can draw on every feather like I've done here. And this guide makes it really easy because once you've blocked in all the shapes, like I did, like once you've blocked in where those feathers are, you can draw little lines, and then when it comes to actually drawing the feathers, you can just use them as guides and round off the edges. So that's a neat little trick. Anyway, yeah, once you've got the idea of where everything is, it makes it a lot easier to draw the bird wing in different poses. So for example, it would fold in like that, and then there's a wing completely folded in. So to give you guys a full idea of what's going on there, you kind of, yeah, get rid of that dude. So you kind of have, there's it half folded, and you can kind of see, you could kind of see how things sort of fold over each other and how you would go about drawing a folded wing. So once you kind of know what everything is, and a lot of learning how a bird's wing fold in is just watching birds fold their wings in. So yeah, you can watch videos of that if you have a bird at home. Makes it a bit easier, but you can just look up slow motion stuff on YouTube. There you go. Anyway, quickly back to this guy. So we have this basically sketched in. We've used the blocking technique for the feathers. So let's say I wanted to draw this guy from here. I would be thinking about just blocking. Really, it's just refining it. Where the heck did he go? Really, it's just defining everything. So like, for the tail, I would just sort of round off the edges. I might put little nicks in because it gives a bit more personality. And I keep sometimes you know, it depends how realistic you're going, how many feathers you include, sort of thing. And I'd think about, oh, probably some rough feathers here if he's like a raven or crow. He has a little bit that comes out over the top of the beak, you know, has an eye. You know, and I like to use the edge of the skull for a guide where I put this sort of like, for the, you know, base of the head, so guide for where I draw little feathers there. That's why I sort of draw the skull in like that. Based on that, it sort of gives me a guide for the fluffy bit there. Not the most scientific term, but you get the idea. And essentially, yeah, it's just slowly building up a little skeletal structure, so I can then just go in and draw everything as quickly as possible. It appears, is my pen pressure even working? I cannot tell. But yeah, this is obviously a rough example, and like I said, you could draw in every feather individually like this, but and then you'd get something like that. I do tend to really like simplifying it. So like what I did with this guy, he's actually pretty detailed. Usually I'm even simpler than that. Since I know where all the feathers are blocked in, I can just sort of give the impression of feathers rather than having to draw them on. So I do the primaries, like sort of really obviously sticking out. Sometimes I'll emphasize that even more, and I'll actually have them be the most detailed feathers, but then when we get to this bit, I just sort of, yeah, it probably gets fluffier there. And I'll just draw in like little lines to show that they're separate feathers. Sometimes I'll fluff a bit there if you need a bit more depth, and it's kind of, yeah, that's a wing. You know, you don't have to be really complicated. Anyway, the neatest thing about learning to draw birds, starting off with this skeleton, is it also is a good way to kind of learn how to draw a lot of the theropod dinosaurs. So like I take this skeleton, this dude is the example, and I kind of just go, okay, so here's a dinosaur head, same as like what I've done there but messier there, and then he's got like the same sort of curves to him. His tail's a bit longer though, doesn't have a little stubby feathers for a butt there, and you know we have the same chest sort of area, same leg sort of area, very similar leg build, you know, and you just sort of, and the main difference is actually with his arms, they're not going to be up like that especially. But he might still have them tucked in the same way as birds. So I'm like, oh, there. He has little bird arms there. And then obviously from there I can do the same method of building up all the fatty bits and, you know, working it up to be a full boy. This is not going to be very good. This is just to give you an idea, you know, of what you can... why birds can help you draw other things, basically. So yeah, I just build them up like that, and then you have little claws there instead of not claws. Oh, it's beautiful. And then there's a quick boy. He's just a quick boy. He's nothing special, but you get the idea. You get how you go from A to B. Obviously, you'd want to take a lot more time and be a bit more, you know, careful about what everything was, but you get the idea. Anyway, that's basically it for this quick tutorial. I just wanted to give you a bit of a rundown on how I go about things. I hope you found some of this helpful, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye. Oh, before I go, a special thanks to all my Patreons. All the money they do to help support my art really helps me keep making videos. The individual pictures from this are actually up on my Patreon, so if you are a Patreon subscriber, you can have access to all the pictures I used here. Anyway, that's all I wanted to add. I'll catch you guys later. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!